that makes sense. So a normal amateur radio delivers 100 power. Transmitter testing. Let me go back to TX test. And now, remember, so that is what we had when we tested the sensitivity. I had 30 dB external attenuator in my CMS, right? And I will do that again. So now we put back our 30 dB. Okay, so now you see again we have 30 dB you see it is 5.8, 5.9, so that is definitely the more accurate reading here. And you see as well here the frequency where the radio is set to, so it is the 28 megahertz. And well, now let's check some additional power settings. Yeah, I have set the radio now to 50 watt. Let's press here the PTT as well, and you see 10, so that means 100 watt, and it is more or less here spot on 50 watt. So what does that mean in reality? And you see in reality it is 46, 47 watt output power, so you see that is working just fine. And now I have set the radio to 100 watt, so let's see if it is the internal logic is setting it to 10, which means 100, or to 30, which means 300. And yeah, let's simply test it, and you see it is going to 30, which means 300, and you see it is more or less spot on 100 watt up there. And let's go down and let's see what the tester is telling us. So it is telling 90.7, 90.8 watt, so that is more or less really 100 watt. And you see with this distributor we are able to put 100 watt or even more to our communication tester, even if here our tester is only able to handle 50 watt, and it is exactly the same what our CMT is able to handle as well. So you see really this amplitude controller or distributor is really very helpful if you need to connect radio with higher power to your communication tester, because sometimes it's really important to be able to test under full power conditions. And now then additionally, as I already told you, we can simply here pick the signal from another port, and I can easily connect my counter additional to our communication tester here to the Z1, and yeah, you can see, maybe I can put here both views. Let me check if it is possible. Now, yeah, let me reduce a little bit here the power that the radio will not get too hot, but now you see we are testing the frequency. It's a little bit in the way. So now you see we have here the frequency, and you see we are testing here with 46 watt something. Alright, so you see I have really two meters connected directly here to the V1, and they do not disturb each other, and that is really the point. Yeah, and additional to that, I could now easily connect here a spectrum analyzer for harmonic testing or whatever you want to do. So then we would have 3 meters connected to one radio, which is really awesome, because you can observe all the parameters, and that is really, really great. What I just want to tell you is that I could switch here the internal meter off simply by pressing this button, and you see now it is off. And that is very important when you connect a spectrum analyzer to this distributor. Then the internal detector diodes are switched off, and that is very important, because a diode could influence the spectrum analyzer picture, or better said, the signal itself. So therefore we can simply disconnect here the internal meters, and honestly I do not really need this meters. So I need this unit really as amplitude controller, as amplitude distributor. So that is where we need it for, to have more meters connected, that we really can observe all the different parameters while we are maybe adjusting, aligning a radio, and therefore it is very, very nice if you have the opportunity to connect all the different meters you need. And of course, this is another way to attenuate your high power. If this would, for instance, be a 300 watt attenuator, then of course it only would need 10 dB, right? Because we have seen that with a 10 dB attenuator, theoretically we could now feed 300 watt into our controller here, right? But our attenuator is not able to handle 300 watt. It is only able to handle 100 watt. But if I would have here a more robust attenuator, then I could simply feed 300 watt, and I could still connect my radio communication service monitor, my counter, my deviation meter, my external, maybe for more accuracy, or to check the one value against the other, so to have more safety. And again, I could put my analyzer, so I could really do everything, and therefore the Z1 is really a nice and handy unit, even it is already I believe 40 years old, and you see it is still in a very good condition. It is working just fine. Important is that when you feed in, let me say here, 0 dBm for testing, that you then read here minus 26, and then that you read here minus 20, and that you read here minus 30 dBm. So that is what you can, or how you can test if the internal attenuators are working right without any problems. So that is a way how you can test it. And if that is given, you have really an awesome instrument for your lab to distribute your signals. Yeah, so I'm not sure if you get any similar, something new. I'm not really aware if there is a more or less similar unit where you really can easily distribute your power to the different instruments. I'm not sure, but you still can get the Z1 on the market, and as I told you, it is really an awesome instrument. Alright, so the video is already too long, and we really need to get to the end, and let me only say some sentence here about the Echo smoke absorber. I only can highly recommend that you use a smoke absorber. So, you know, all the modern fluxes you are using are really harmful to your health, so you really should use something like this. And believe me, I'm breathing now for 40 years solder smoke, and that is no fun. So that is really a unit which you should purchase over everything else, because this year is all about your health. And you know, if your health is once jeopardized in any way, you know, that is then no fun any longer. So highly recommended. Please buy a smoke absorber just for your health, because all the modern, especially the no leaded solder